Very good afternoon to all of you. Thanks for joining us here on The Big Story. I am Afrida Rahman Ali. Our top focus today is on the issue of the pothole menace. We have been reporting consistently on this issue from all major cities. This time our focus is Bengaluru. Now this is where a 75-year-old specially abled man died on the spot after he rode over a pothole in Bengaluru last night. He lost his balance and fell off on the road. This comes just a day after, ironically, that the Karnataka government announced that all potholes in Bengaluru will be filled up by the 30th of September. However, the delay has proven to be extremely costly. A life lost once again, and this interestingly comes after another incident that happened this year itself in February, where a 19-year-old was hit by a truck and died. She was trying to navigate around a stretch of road that was full of potholes, again in Bengaluru main road. This is the capital city of Karnataka that we are talking about, which makes it even more shocking that is this the kind of infrastructure that a city like Bengaluru has, because these are all accident-prone roads that we are talking about, and already 2 deaths because of potholes reported, and there could be a number of other unreported cases as well. There are new details also coming in on this case. But first, let's listen in to my colleague Shrija reporting on the story.
Once again, civic apathy has come to light from the city of Bengaluru, where it has claimed a life, a handicap's life, just yesterday at around 8:30 p.m. We are at the accident spot. Now, this is the western part of Bengaluru. Now, this is the spot where we are standing. If I can show you the entire stretch of road, of course, not even to be even called a pothole, but what we do understand is this: onto my left of the road which connects to this side, actually it's been cut off. If you clearly see that this entire stretch of road on the left and as well as on the opposite side has also been completely cut across the road. This is basically to lay a sanitary pipeline is what we are being told. And of course, speaking to the BBMP chief engineer, he also tells us that since this was dug up by the BWSSB, which is the Bengaluru Water Supply Board, the onus comes on them for them to ensure that this entire spot is actually restored back to normal. But speaking to some of the residents from this very spot, they tell us that it's been several months that they have been trying to complain to the BWSSB, the BDA, since it comes under the BDA limits. But however, several of the pleas have fallen clearly on deaf ears, and they have not clearly gone ahead, and thus claiming a life at this point in time. What's also important to understand, this particular stretch of road, of course, it's actually filled with a lot of trees and also bushes. What's also important to note here is the street lights do not work. So clearly all these are the challenges that worked against this particular person who was actually killed right at this very spot. With video journalist Santosh, this is Shrida reporting for Mirror Now in Bengaluru.
As killer pothole claims one life, officials are shifting the blame against one another. Bengaluru Development Authority, which is responsible for the road, told Mirror Now that the road was dug up by Bengaluru Water Supply and Sewerage Board, and hence the restoration should be done by them. Residents of the area had earlier complained to the government authorities over the road's quality and were assured by the officials that the road will be fixed. So now the issue is there is a shifting of responsibility, one government body blaming the other. In this case, the Bengaluru Development Authority, which is actually responsible for maintenance of roads, has shifted the blame to Bengaluru Water Supply and Sewerage Board, saying they were the ones who dug up the road and they are responsible for filling it up, which is why now the Bengaluru Development Authority is not willing to take responsibility for this death. Shrija joining us with more. Shrija, the residents are the ultimate sufferers when you have this kind of a blame game, no one willing to take responsibility. I believe the Bengaluru Development Authority has come up with a statement on the pothole deaths. Can you take us through the details, please? Okay, Shrija, if you can hear me, I wanted a quick update from you on what the Bengaluru Development Authority has said after the pothole death reported today. Okay, we are moving on now. I'll try and connect Shrija in just a bit. But remember, while potholed roads continue to claim lives of taxpayers, the roads in the VVIP areas are in perfect condition. Neha Hebale is joining us from outside Karnataka Chief Minister's residence to show us the stark difference between how roads are in these VVIP areas as compared to those used by the common citizen. Neha, if you can hear me, can you show us around? Where exactly are you? And what is the point you are trying to make here? Because you're outside the Chief Minister's residence. Yes. You are saying that the difference is stark. But can you explain to us what that means?
Well, absolutely, Afrida. We've seen this around any minister's residence, around even the chief minister for that matter, his official residence over here, Krishna. I'd like to actually show you not just the spot that we're standing at, but this entire stretch of road for that matter, Afrida, is almost spotless to say the least. And every single time, we've brought this to light that it is only the VIP areas or the VVIP areas that are seeing development taking place, both in terms of, potholes being fixed on the roads, or be it the issues of water supply that Bengaluru faces, any of these issues for that matter. So this brings back the question of VIP racism. Why is it that while every single citizen of the city is paying taxes, that it's only these certain areas that are seeing development? Now, Afrida, what's important to highlight is the number of accidents that actually take place, road accidents that take place in these posh areas that are developed, that are well developed, be it the CM's residence or any other minister's residence for that matter, versus the accidents that take place on the ordinary roads where there aren't any VIPs. There is a stark difference. If you compare the data over here, there is a very big difference in the kind of accidents. And now, of course, you have the government over here that's going to come forward, shift the blame to the other agencies, and most importantly, try and use the pandemic as an excuse for not having carried out the works. But what we're questioning is, isn't the pandemic uniform, be it for the VIP areas or for the normal areas? So any excuse right now at this point, for not having filled up the potholes will not really work well with the citizens of Bengaluru. About 8 months ago as well, we saw a very horrific accident where a woman, of course, a student at that, lost her life. So we're really, of course, going to keep bringing this up again until the government takes note. Afrida, one thing we hear in Karnataka is that both the government and the Chief Minister on multiple occasions have gone on to say that they are a government that works for the people. Well, if this is the kind of work that we're actually looking at on ground, it is, of course, something that has angered the citizens of Bengaluru.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Neha, with the latest inputs. A 75-year-old differently abled man lost his life. Imagine what it is for a differently abled man to try and operate normally. He is vulnerable. It is difficult for him. But the least that the authorities can do is give him a stretch of road that he can travel despite his physical constraints. But that was not to be. 75-year-old M. Khurshid Ahmed, a resident of Jayanagar in central Bengaluru, fell off the road while riding his two-wheeler. And of course, he died on the spot. He was taken to the Victoria Hospital for post-mortem. He succumbed to his injuries because of this deadly accident. So let me introduce our guests on the show. Saurav Kumar, he works for an organization called Pothole Raja. They have been working on this issue, on the issue of civic amenities, on basic infrastructure, and on accident-prone roads. Saurav Kumar has been working on the area of road safety. We'll talk to Saurav. Also, let's welcome Captain Ganesh Karnik, spokesman of Karnataka BJP, also joining us on the show. But before I go to our guests, let's first listen in to what Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai has to say after this accident was reported.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ನಾನು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಬಂತು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಳೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಈಗ ಗುಂಡಿ ಮುಚ್ಚಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ BBMP ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ಗೆ ಆಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ.
Okay, so all assurance is there. Once again, we heard the Chief Minister say that all potholes will be fixed once the rain subsides. Prior to this, we were told that all the potholes will be fixed by 30th of September. My colleague Neha was telling us that the pandemic is being used as an excuse. But how can that be used as an excuse? I want to know, Captain Ganesh Karnik, because the fact of the matter is it should have actually provided a better opportunity with the empty roads. And it would have been that much easier to fix the potholes. Now that you have, unlocked and the vehicles are back on the roads, perhaps it might get difficult. Was the government sleeping all this while? Even after the deaths in February, no lessons learned. Yet another man had to die on the Bengaluru road.
Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, and thanks for inviting me on the panel. And I do appreciate the serious effort, serious concern that is expressed by all of you. Neither I'm here to give excuses. Potholes and bad roads, especially in the domestic areas, not on the VIP areas, otherwise, is an issue. It's a very serious issue. There's no doubt about it. And government, the Chief Minister and the Revenue Minister, when they say we'll ensure that the potholes will be filled by, say, this month end, by 30th of September, they have expressed their serious concern about the issue. And it's not an excuse, but unfortunately, number one, there are a lot of developmental activities going on, whether it is expansion of metro or white metaling of the road, white surfacing of the road, or whatever it is. There are a lot of issues going on. And possibly, like you rightly said, the kind of importance that should have been given to maintaining, serviceability of all these roads is a paramount issue. The other issue that you mentioned, not an excuse, I'm agreeing with you, that interdepartmental coordination. There is a lack as far as the interdepartmental coordination is concerned. But see, the problem is now, hello, there are major developmental issues going on in Bangalore city.
Yes, carry on.
Again, not as an excuse, but what I'm trying to say, I've been visiting Bangalore every week. Besides the developmental activities which is happening in a large scale, the rains have been an issue. It's not that rains have not been an issue. But whatever it is our most important, urgent requirement to ensure that roads are made serviceable. I can only take points from what you all have been, bringing out, that government, let me also put it across to the government, that it has to be considered very seriously. Losing one person, whether it is a specially able person or anybody for that matter, who is on the road for his livelihood needs, has to be ensured. His life has to be ensured. I have also very serious concern about the old man passing away in a small accident. I'm extremely sorry for that. But I will only take from what Honorable Revenue Minister said, that we will put our best efforts and ensure that by 30th of September, there will be, on the war footing, we will ensure that pots are going to be filled.
Yes, but Captain Karnik, this delay has proven to be extremely costly. I appreciate that you've been gracious enough to accept the fact that these roads have not been made serviceable. But let's not forget, it's not just about bad roads. These are life-threatening roads. These are accident-prone roads. And there has been a precedence, which is why the citizens are bound to be angry today. That, you have not taken it seriously enough. I understand you're talking about intra-departmental coordination. I understand you're talking about rains acting as an impediment. But there is an issue of priority. There is an issue of taking it seriously enough, especially after we lost a young girl to a similar accident. Saurav Kumar, do you agree that rains have proven to be an impediment? There have been a lot of other work also going on. The BBMP is overburdened with other civic work as well.
First of all, I'm really feeling bad about the accident that has happened, and it's very unfortunate to know that somebody again died because of a pothole. I think we are all very aware about the data that is there in front of us. In our country, almost 10 people die because of pothole accidents on a daily basis. During monsoon, it becomes much more higher, of course. there are certain challenges, as you have also mentioned, highlighted that there are coordination issues and things like that have been happening. And the way we work, and as Potholes as an organization, the way we have been working to identify and fix this problem is with the help of civic participation and volunteer engagement. That how can we identify where potholes and how can we go about fixing them? Because we work with various means of having the CSR as the important dimension and prevention that we actually take up. As you rightly said, yes, these are certain challenges that exist in front of us. During monsoon, of course, it becomes challenging. Before monsoon, if it can be rectified and repaired, it definitely will become very, very meaningful for the citizens. And the cost of repair will also be very, very significantly lesser. We also receive a lot of complaints during the monsoon. And in fact, as I'm speaking to you in the morning, somebody from different part of the city in Bangalore, had called us saying that there are multiple potholes in their area and can we help them fix that? Because of that, a lot of elderly people are meeting with an accident because of that. So yes, we do understand there's a lot of engagement from each and every stakeholder. What we believe has to be coming into picture. The way it's been working in India, the demography of India as a country, until unless each and every sector comes together to solve a problem, we find it very difficult to kind of achieve that tagline. If I say, if we want to make India pothole free, it has to be a collaboration of each and every stakeholder out there. So that's what we are also there out to help serve the society in whatever possible ways we can help them.
Yes, absolutely. All stakeholders, and when you say that, I would say that the citizens, the taxpayers, have a right to question the authorities at this point of time, because the fact of the matter is, Captain Karnik, that, we are penalized. When there is a violation on the road, we are challaned. And that's why we are asking who will now challan the authorities for this kind of a laxity. And it is not any ordinary laxity, it has cost us lives. So at this point of time, more deadlines and more assurances are actually, sounding hollow to us at the moment. We want clear answers as to, you can't compensate for a life by announcing an ex gratia. Let's not even talk about that. The fact that a 75-year-old man who was trying to navigate his way around the Bengaluru road despite his physical constraint had to die in this manner. Somebody has to be answerable for it, and some heads must roll.
I know you are raising a very, very serious issue, and all of us have to collectively own up responsibility. I have no second thoughts about it. But the issue is, you look at Bangalore city. I think one of the fastest grown city in the entire country, maybe in the entire world, from 35 lakhs in the 70s to 125 plus lakhs is a huge number. Developmental issues have not been addressed in a very professional way. That's one.
Yes.
Secondly, the density on the road is the highest in the country. Density of traffic, it is the highest in the country. Of course, you are talking about pandemic. Pandemic cannot be an excuse. In fact, we could have used it in a better way. So these are the issues which have to be addressed professionally. Any life, whether it is a specially able person or whatever it is, I think every life is very, very precious. And like I said before, people are on the road for their livelihood issues. And as a responsible government, if we cannot provide these facilities, and if we cannot ensure that we have pothole-free roads there are quality issues, there are contractual obligations, there are many such issues which need to be addressed. Why don't we ask, after 1 year of relaying of the road, why there are potholes? So somebody has to be made accountable. I do agree with you. I'm a spokesperson of the party, but I'm also a citizen of this state. I do understand the concern.
Yes, and since you are the spokesperson of the party, Captain Karnik, so much time and attention was wasted around the issue of who's going to be the next chief minister. The politics often gets the better of governance. That's the only thing that we can see happening here. And for all the delays that we see, for all the lack of priority that we see, do you agree that it's because of overemphasis on the politics that governance has taken a backseat and potholes there have been no time to look at the potholes?
See, politics is what it is, and possibly none of us can do much about it. We could have been more responsible is one-line answer I can say. But whether there was a political confusion or not, the authorities should not have been relaxing. They should have taken these ongoing projects or getting potholes repaired, all ongoing jobs. They could have done it. So we have to build the cat now. And keeping this in mind, Honorable Chief Minister and the Revenue Minister has categorically said that on a war footing, rain permitting, we will ensure that potholes are going to be filled within next 15, 20 days. That's by 30th of September. That means the concern that you are expressing through your media has reached the highest possible authority of the state, the Chief Minister and the Revenue Minister. I also look forward to serious action from the authorities concerned. And one point you raised about the lack of coordination between the department, this has to be addressed very seriously. As a spokesperson, not only speaking here, I will also bring it to the notice of the government and see what best can be done.
Which is why I said that, the man at the helm of affairs, the Chief Minister, is responsible for doing all the fine-tuning that is required between the departments so that there is no shifting of responsibility. One last word to you, Mr. Saurav. How do we resolve this? 30th September is still far away. I mean, until such time, are there going to be more such accidents? Do you think that people also perhaps need to be more cautious driving around during the rains? Because as a person out on the road myself driving a vehicle, I know that what happens is when a pothole is filled with water, you can't see it. And every time your vehicle bumps into one of those, you feel relieved that, okay, we averted an accident here. But those potholes are actually disasters waiting to happen, isn't it, Saurav?
Of course. I mean, as a two-wheeler rider or in a four-wheeler, I also drive. Potholes are
Saurav,
definitely a nightmare. And during monsoon, I can hear you. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me right now? Yeah. So what I was saying is, of course, pothole continues to be, a challenge, and for two-wheelers, it's a nightmare. I mean, as you rightly said, when it rains, you don't know where potholes are. One thing is there that whoever is driving on the road, riding on the road, they need to be a little bit more cautious. If you see water stagnated, as far as possible, please try to avoid that. I mean, that's the best that we can do as of now in this certain condition. And as we always, keep saying and asking citizens that whenever you see a challenge, can you please highlight that issue to us, as well. You can tag us, you can post it to us, Pothole Raja as well. BVMP also has been quite active, when some pothole related queries are being posted on Twitter. So, please ensure that you highlight those issues so that even if the potholes are located at places wherein maybe, people can't usually go and see, if that's in and around your maybe house, home, or, around your workplaces, please highlight that, because that's where, we're going to help resolve them. So at one point, part, it's very important that we raise concern. Another part, it's very important for us to even highlight those issues so that can be taken. So that's 2 cents from my side.
Yes, and if I may just say this, the citizens of Bengaluru, we have seen, are extremely aware. There have been a lot of awareness campaigns. There have been instances of a person coming out in an astronaut suit trying to highlight the potholes. In some ways trying to show his walking on the surface of the moon. That's the level of the craters that was being alluded to. Also recently, we saw residents of Anjanapur in Bengaluru, planting paddy saplings in the waterfield potholes. So insofar as the citizens are concerned, they've been extremely aware and they've been vocal. And activists like you, Saurav, really appreciate the work that you're doing for the citizens. Thanks so much for joining us. I would like to also thank Captain Ganesh Karnik and Saurav Kumar for joining us on The Big Story this afternoon.